What's going on, everybody? Gleez here, and today we're just going to make a quick video here talking about the controller layout. I've gotten a lot of questions about this. Just for your knowledge, I use a regular DualShock 4 PlayStation controller to play Mortal Kombat. So I don't use anything fancy, and I leave the buttons as is. I mean, you can change them into, whatever you'd like, but I leave them just how they are by default. The questions that I really get are about this stuff down below. So the input window timing, this is probably the most important of all of these settings. And the input window is set by default to long. What that means is the game remembers your inputs for a longer time period when it comes to special moves. Alright, so for instance, if you have a special move that is down, forward 2, or triangle or Y, depending on what system you're playing on. Alright, so if it's down, forward 2, you also have a combo that starts with forward 2. Alright, if you were to check someone with a down 1 poke and then go into forward 2 into your combo after you hit, a lot of times that special move would come out. If you've played Injustice 2, the game by default, as far as I hear, was set to long. So that's why it's on default here as long. Now what this leads to are a lot of input errors. Alright, so when you try to poke and then go into combo, instead of getting the combo, your special move comes out. So I've toyed with this setting quite a bit. And the thing that I set it to is medium. I feel like at medium, I get the best of both worlds. The inputs are a little bit more forgiving, and the game doesn't remember your inputs for as long. So I haven't gotten any type of input error when I go from a poke into a special move, or I'm sorry, a poke into a combo that also are the same button combinations as a special move. I haven't gotten that. At first I played with short, and it seemed as though the game just wasn't reading a lot of the inputs that I was putting in, or the input window was just super small and I was missing it. So with short, I don't think it's the necessarily best bet for most people. It could be, depending on your character. If your character has very precise input timing and, the short is going to get it done. It's very character specific. It's very individual. The individual person will dictate this, but I tend to play on medium. The next setting, crushing blows. All right, if you hold the button, you can activate the crushing blow. If you leave this off, the crushing blow is just going to automatically activate whenever you meet the requirements. What I do is, boom, I turn that on. Why is that? Because now I can control when my crushing blow lands. All right, so if my crushing blow is at the end of the round, or let's say I trigger, what would usually trigger a crushing blow at the end of a round and I don't want to spend it, all right, I don't have to. All right, if you leave this on off, when you get to that point in a match, your crushing blow will automatically come out and you'll lose that crushing blow going into the next round. All right, so you can save your crushing blows, utilize them when you want if you hold the button. Now, if you're new to a character or new to the game and you don't know all of the crushing blows and don't really understand how they're all triggered, you might want to start with it off until you really get an understanding for the character, but eventually you're going to move to on. All right, so what we have next is release check or negative edge, and I always turn this off personally. Now, for certain characters, I remember with Sonya, demo variation in Mortal Kombat X, it made it easier for her to execute all of her grenade tosses in the corner for big damage and combos. And basically what this means is when you release the button is when the actual special move will come out. So for instance, with Sonya, the way that it worked, so you would go with your forward 2 into your grenade, down forward 1, and hold the button, and then go down forward and release the button. And you would get the ability to throw out 2 special moves with 1 button press by holding the button. And what release check does, it basically, has the special move trigger on the release of the button rather than the press of the button. All right, so I don't like that. I think it's annoying. It causes some negative things for me. Negative edge is negative for Gleez, so I turn that off. Alternate controls. Again, this is going to be character specific, I'm sure. For me, I turn it off, and with alternate controls, it requires the diagonal inputs. So for instance, with a move that comes out, down, forward, and a button, what the game will actually do is force you to roll it, like a Ryu Hadouken or a dragon punch, you got to roll the buttons, all right, rather than just hitting the actual down forward input. So it would be down, down, forward, forward. Also, alternatively, with back forward buttons, all right, so if I were to go back forward in a button to execute a move, I now have to go back all the way around the forward and hit a button. So it would be back, down, down, forward, forward, and then the button. So it forces you to hit all of those different types of inputs as you roll around to the next input. So it basically has a roll effect similar to Street Fighter if you've ever played that. And that's basically how that works. Input shortcuts, all right, requires less directional precision. God, say that 100 times. I turn that off. All right, I like my moves to be crisp. I have crisp inputs. With input shortcuts, it can allow special moves to be easier to pull off for people that are beginners, but eventually you're going to want to turn that off, I feel, because when you have it on, it does oftentimes cause input errors. So you get special moves when you don't actually want special moves. So I turn that off. Button shortcuts. All right, this toggles between multi-button inputs for single button moves. All right, so that means that I can push the two buttons together in order to activate the different moves up at the top. So I can actually input the buttons to get my fatal blow or to get a stage background attack rather than utilizing the one button. I turn that off also. And the reason why I do that is because if I plink or slide my thumb across the buttons on the front, which I often tend to do, that's how I play the game. I slide my thumb across the buttons to get very fast inputs rather than pushing the individual button. I often slide my thumb across. The game will actually register if I hit them too quickly that I'm trying to activate something that's a multi-button move. All right, so like an interaction on a stage or a throw or my X-ray or something, which there aren't X-rays, there's fatal blows in this game, but you get my point. All right, so that's basically what I do. So these are my controller settings. All right, so I go medium, on, off, all the way down. Again, depending on the individual, depending on the character, depending on your skill level, all of these will change, but these are what I use. And I've gotten so many questions about it, I figured I'd just make a video going over it and why I choose the things that I choose. So that's it. If you like this video, be sure to click that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm going to be posting so much Mortal Kombat 11 content on the channel, and I'm absolutely excited for it. I can't wait. So far, Jade is my favorite character, but on release, there's so many characters to check out. I don't know where that's going to lead. But right now, Jade is looking like my favorite character. Who's your favorite character? Leave a comment down below and let me know. So that's it. I'm going to thank you for checking in. It's Jay Gleez signing out, and continue to game strong.